Have you ever wondered why, even though you have ambition, you remain stuck? Why, despite dreaming big, do you feel that something invisible is holding you back? Well, I'm going to tell you now, with all the clarity you need to hear it. What's holding you back is not a lack of ability or opportunity. What's holding you back is the illusion that you can wait for the right moment to act. This is the most dangerous lie that the human mind accepts. You think you need to feel motivated to start, inspired to be productive, confident to take the plunge. But I ask you, when were the great empires of history built under perfect conditions? When did a field ever flourish because the farmer waited to feel like planting? Never. The truth, naked, raw, and unchangeable, is that men who build legacies don't wait. They move, even when they're unsure, even when the world seems to be falling apart, even when everything inside them screams for comfort. And that's the first key I want to give you. Move, no matter how you feel. Because action precedes motivation. Not the other way around. When I was 16, I wrote down every penny that came in and out of my pockets. Not because I thought it was fun, but because I knew that discipline creates destiny. While others my age were playing, I was studying accounting by lamplight. While others sought pleasure, I sought power. And not power over others, but power over myself. You say you're ambitious. Great. But if your ambition doesn't get you out of bed before the alarm clock rings, if it doesn't make you say no to the pleasures that drain your focus, if it doesn't lead you to productive exhaustion at the end of the day, then it's just fantasy. You don't need more dreams. You need execution. And for that, you're going to have to declare war on procrastination. Not with sweet words or New Year's resolutions, but with discipline. And discipline begins in silence, in small decisions, in invisible sacrifices, in victories that no one applauds. Today, I want you to make a pact with me. And it's not a pact with empty promises. It's a pact with your greatness. A pact with the version of yourself that already exists, but is suffocated by your laziness, your fear, and your distraction. Have you ever noticed how fear always disguises itself as logic? How it tells you that now is not the time, that you need to wait until you are more prepared, that it is better to play it safe before taking risks. That is not caution. That is cowardice disguised as prudence. I have learned to recognize fear. What's more, I have learned to master it. Because those who do not master their own fear will always be servants to the fear of others. And as long as you are a slave to this procrastination disguised as prudence, you will never be your own master. And if you are not your own master, how can you be the master of an empire? Now, listen to me carefully. Procrastination is not a habit, it is a decision, repeated so many times that it has become part of your identity. But identity is something you can rebuild. You weren't born a procrastinator, you just became one. And in the same way, you can become a tireless achiever, a doer, a builder, and it all starts with a simple choice: to act now. I remember my early years in Cleveland, starting out in the commission business. There was no glory, no recognition, just quiet, hard work. But I knew that every action, every precise calculation, every penny accounted for, was another brick in my invisible empire. I didn't build my fortune by collecting coins. I built my fortune by collecting correct decisions, made repeatedly. While others chased luck, I created systems. While others jumped from idea to idea, I planted roots in one. And maybe here's another key you need to hear. Stop jumping from plan to plan. Choose something and stick with it. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they start over too many times. Your problem isn't a lack of ideas, it's a lack of discipline to follow through on an idea until the end. And that has to change. Today, now answer me. Are you really willing to change? Because if you are, you'll have to start by breaking the curse of comfort. You'll have to wake up before the world does. You'll have to work when others rest. You'll have to study when others are distracted. You'll have to say no to 99 things in order to say yes to the one that matters. And when the inner voice tells you, rest, you deserve it, you will respond with another voice, not now. Now is the time to build. Do you think it's difficult? It is, but that's exactly why so few get where you want to go. That's why most people spend their lives complaining, blaming the system, their parents, the government. Because it's easier to be a victim than to be responsible. But you're not here to be just another one. You're here because you know there's something bigger waiting for you. Something that will only be achieved by those who master themselves. And the first battle is not against procrastination, it's against your lazy ego. Against your mind that has learned to reward itself without merit, that seeks pleasure without effort, recognition without commitment. That mind has to die today, and do you know what is born in its place? A new identity, the identity of an executor, of someone who acts without negotiating with their own will, who does not wait for motivation, who does not depend on mood, who acts out of conviction. The life you want is already available, but it requires a new version of you. And that version is only born with firm decisions and immediate actions. Not tomorrow. Now, so here's my challenge. Choose a task, any task, and do it now, without thinking, without procrastinating. Just do it. And when you're done, do another one, and another. Until procrastination no longer has a place inside you. If you do this, something powerful will happen. You will start to trust yourself again. You will start to feel like you are in control. You will start to walk with the posture of someone who knows where they are going. And when that happens, the world will start to react differently to you. Because the world respects those who take action. Have you ever noticed how everything changes when you decide to act without negotiating? When you just get up and do it, even if you don't want to, even if you don't believe in it, even if you're not sure. That's when your strength is born. Not physical strength or motivation, but the strength of identity. Most people live trapped in a vicious cycle. First, they wait to feel inspired, then they try to act. When they fail, they feel guilty. When they feel guilty, they judge themselves. When they judge themselves, they freeze even more. And life becomes a succession of interrupted beginnings. Unfulfilled dreams. Untapped potential, but you are about to break that cycle now. Starting today, your life will be guided not by the emotion of the moment, but by the decision of purpose. And purpose is not an abstract concept. Purpose is discipline applied over time. You hear me speak with such conviction because I have lived every word I teach. I built a billion-dollar fortune in silence, without haste, without exposure, but with a consistency that would crush any procrastination. And you know why? Because I understood early on that the world belongs to those who act while others sleep, and that doesn't mean living without rest. It means living with priorities. It means that if something is important, you do it. Tired or rested, excited or not, enthusiastic or discouraged. Because your life cannot depend on your mood. Your empire cannot be at the mercy of your mood. And if you really want to change, start by eliminating the poison that silently destroys empires. Justification. You justify yourself too much. You explain yourself too much. You protect yourself too much. And meanwhile, your life isn't moving forward. Because with every excuse you repeat, you are reinforcing the identity of someone who accepts less than they can be. And that identity needs to be broken with force. With actions, with decisions that cause discomfort. Because it is in discomfort that true identity is shaped. Are you afraid of making mistakes? Great mistakes are the price of progress. I've made dozens of mistakes. Negotiations that didn't work out, investments that didn't pay off, decisions that cost me time. But every mistake was a step forward. Every failure was a lesson. Every stumble brought me closer to precision. What I didn't accept was paralysis, because paralysis is the only unforgivable failure. It's what makes you waste years in jobs that don't challenge you, relationships that don't add to your life, routines that erase you. It's what consumes the lives of the ambitious who are asleep. But today, my role as a mentor is to shake your conscience until you wake up, until you understand that procrastination is a continuous choice and that you can, at any moment, choose differently. Do you want a life of impact, a life of purpose? Then understand this. Impact requires consistency. Purpose requires routine. You will not become someone trustworthy if you do not keep your word to yourself. And that may be the secret reason for your low self-confidence. You do not trust yourself because you keep breaking personal promises. You say you're going to wake up early, but you sleep 5 more minutes. You say you're going to change your life, but you end the day as usual. You promise you'll start on Monday, but it's never Monday. And your brain learns. This person doesn't follow through on anything. And when you need courage, you can't find it. Because there is no foundation. So build that foundation. Not with grand gestures, but with small daily commitments. I started by saving pennies, but with the precision of an army. I wrote everything down. I controlled everything. Because I knew that if I didn't master what I had, I would never be worthy of more. Today, you need to master your time, your focus, your word. Because only those who control their 24 hours as if they were worth millions become rich. And they are worth it. You procrastinate because you think you still have time, but you don't. And I'm not talking about tragedies. I'm talking about the brutal math of life. If you're 40 and live to be 80, you only have 40 more summers, 40 more chances to reinvent yourself. And if you keep living on autopilot, every one of those cycles will be wasted. Stop romanticizing the wait. Stop putting off your real life. Your greatness is trapped in the basement of your procrastination. And there is only one key. Action. Wake up before the world does. Write down your goals before others tell you what to do. Do tasks before you feel ready. Because you will never feel ready. You will become ready in the process. And if your mind wants to sabotage you, telling you that it's too hard, remember, hard is living a life below your potential. Hard is reaching the end and realizing that you just survived. Hard is looking back and seeing that everything you could have been was buried under layers of excuses. Now, stop for a moment and take a deep breath. Feel the weight of that truth. Don't run away from it. Because it is that discomfort that will drive your turnaround. And I want to ask you a question now. What are you going to do in the next 24 hours that proves you are no longer the same person? Don't tell me, show me with action. Choose a task you've been putting off for weeks. Execute it with precision. Don't think, don't analyze, just do it. And then repeat, every day. Until procrastination looks at you and says, there's no more room for me here. And when you reach that point, you will feel something rare. You will walk with a different energy. You will negotiate better, speak better, present yourself better. Because you will carry within you the authority of someone who gets things done. This authority is invisible, but everyone notices it, attracts partners. It inspires confidence. It closes deals. It opens doors, and that, my friend, is what builds real wealth. You can study techniques, learn strategies, master tools, but none of that replaces the identity of an executor. Because it is what transforms ideas into results, and results into empires. If you understand this, you are already ahead of most people. But if you apply it, you will be among the rare few, and that's what I want to leave you with now. Apply it, execute, transform, make every second count, because every second wasted is a betrayal of your ambition. And if you've made it this far, tell me, what is the first action you will take today, right now, as proof that procrastination has lost control over you? Write in the comments. I've already started. This is your public statement. Your signature of commitment. Because those who declare, act, and those who act, achieve. Now that you've started, don't stop. What separates ordinary men from legacy builders is not the intensity of the beginning, it's the consistency in the middle. Most people fail not at the beginning, but in the process, they get excited about a new idea. fired up by a promise, but they crumble when faced with the monotony of days that are all the same. They give up when results don't come as fast as their ego demands. They abandon their goals when they realize that true building requires patience. But, I tell you clearly, the gold of your life is buried in the days when nothing seems to happen. It was years without recognition, without applause, without big gains, that forged my fortune. I planted without haste. I reinvested without vanity. I worked on the details, like someone carving a diamond, and that gave me power. Because those who master routine master time, and those who master time master destiny. You still don't understand what it really means to build. Building is not running. It's not quick wins. Building is sacrificing today with joy, because you know what tomorrow will bring. It's doing what needs to be done, even when it doesn't seem to bear fruit. It's trusting the process with the unshakable faith of a visionary. You need to develop that faith. But not a mystical or illusory faith, a strategic faith. The faith that comes from commitment to your vision. The faith that feeds on discipline. The faith that grows with every small victory, ignored by the world, while others run after shortcuts. You will become a master of the long road. Because the long road makes kings. The short road only makes deluded people. And here's a truth that no one likes to hear. What you do when no one is looking defines who you will be. When everyone is watching. When I started in the oil industry, no one believed in me. I was just another young accountant among giants. But one was methodical. I was detail-oriented. I was relentless with numbers. While others sought quick profits, I studied every penny, every flow, every flaw. I knew my business inside out, like a general knows the battlefield. And that's how I started building something that no one could tear down. Efficiency. Do you want to win? Then start by eliminating every ounce of waste from your life. Waste of time, waste of energy, waste of attention. Every notification you give in to, every distraction you allow. Every conversation that goes nowhere, all of it is costing you greatness. And maybe you think that's an exaggeration, but I assure you, the details you ignore are the same ones that sabotage your results. The empire you want to build will not be built with vague intentions. It will be built with surgical decisions. With absolute focus, with total control of your routine. And that starts with what you tolerate. What you tolerate today becomes your standard tomorrow. If you tolerate laziness, procrastination, inaccuracy, excuses, you are programming yourself for failure. And worse, you are training others not to take you seriously. Because the world treats you the way you treat yourself. If you treat yourself with discipline, the world respects you. If you treat yourself with negligence, the world ignores you. So the next phase of your transformation begins now. Become relentless with your standards. Establish a routine of excellence, and stick to it, even when you're tired, even when no one is holding you accountable, even when no one notices. Because this isn't about others. This is about proving to yourself that you're ready for something bigger. Do you want to be respected? Start by respecting yourself. Stick to your schedule. Honor your word. Do what you promised, especially when you promised yourself. And if you mess up, start over. But never compromise your standards. That's how I became who I am today. I wasn't the most charismatic or influential person in the beginning, but I was the most consistent, the most accurate, the most disciplined. And the results came. They came because I deserved them. They came because I paid the price before asking for the reward. And here's another secret. Stop seeking validation. Validation is a trap. As long as you need applause, you'll be held hostage by the opinions of others. And those who live to please others don't have the strength to lead. True leaders do what needs to be done, even when they are criticized, even when they are misunderstood, even when they are rejected. Do you want to live with purpose? Then be willing to be misunderstood, to be ignored, to be ridiculed in the beginning. Because the beginning is always lonely, but the end rewards those who persevere. And I speak as someone who has seen that reward with my own eyes. I have seen cities transformed because of my investments. I have seen hospitals built with my profits. I have seen universities born out of my philanthropy. Because I didn't build just for myself. I built with a greater purpose. And you need that too. A cause that transcends your comfort. A purpose that makes you get out of bed with strength, even on grey days. Something bigger than money. Bigger than status. Bigger than fame. Do you want to overcome procrastination once and for all? Then find a purpose that makes you feel ashamed to stand still. The world doesn't need another complacent person. The world needs you, at your best. And that version isn't born with pretty phrases. It's born when you commit to excellence even when no one is watching. When you perform without an audience. When you build without needing to be seen. Because it is in the hidden that the great are forged. So listen to me with all your heart. Now, start living as if your greatest work is under construction. Because it is. Every decision you make is a brick. Every routine you establish is a foundation. Every sacrifice you accept is a structure that supports the top. And the more you build, the less you need to prove. Your life begins to speak for you. And when that day comes, you will look back and smile. You will smile because you realized that what seemed difficult was just the right path. That the pain of discipline was infinitely less than the pain of regret. And that procrastination, in the end, was not a habit, it was just fear dressed up as comfort. And now that you see this clearly, I will tell you one thing. Keep going. Even when you're tired. Even when you're unsure. Keep going. Because those who keep going win. You've made it this far. And that alone puts you in a rare group. The group of those who persist. But don't be fooled, persistence isn't enough. You have to persist intelligently, with direction. With constant adjustment. No great empire has ever been built without recalculating the route hundreds of times. Because the path to success is not straight. It is winding, dark, uncertain, and only those who learn to read the signs along the way remain standing. I want to teach you now a principle that has guided me throughout my life. Strategic adaptation. This is the skill that separates those who grow from those who disappear. Those who don't adapt stagnate. Those who stagnate rot, and those who rot fall. Have you noticed how the world is accelerating? Businesses that were leaders yesterday are bankrupt today. People who were admired yesterday are forgotten today. And do you know why? Because they confused comfort with stability. And there is nothing more unstable than prolonged comfort. Comfort is treacherous. It makes you believe that you've done enough. That you already know enough. That you can relax. But the truth is that excellence requires vigilance. Constant vigilance. I won not because I knew everything, but because I was always learning. I studied every movement of the market, every fluctuation, every failure, and I adjusted my methods with cold precision. You need to develop that coldness, that clarity, because only those who think like chess players stay in the game. Always 2 moves ahead, always with a margin, always with a contingency plan. And that goes for everything: finances, routine, relationships, purpose. Do you have a contingency plan for your habits, for when motivation is lacking, for when life brings you to your knees? I did. I built systems. If I couldn't trust my willpower, I trusted my structure. And because of that, I made progress even on difficult days. You procrastinate because you still live at the mercy of your willpower. And willpower, my friend, is volatile. It's weak. It's influenced by the weather, sleep, mood. But systems are solid. They're predictable. They're unstoppable. So the next key is this. Build systems that work even when you're not at your best. A study system, a productivity system, an investment system, a personal growth system. Because it's not about being strong all the time. It's about having a strategy all the time. Now, listen to me carefully. Are you living or just repeating days? Because if your days are all the same, your life is at a standstill. Growth requires disruption. It requires movement. It requires risk. And here's another hard truth. If you're not taking risks, you're taking an even bigger risk, that of becoming irrelevant. I took calculated risks. With data, with scenario analysis, but I took them, always. Because I'd rather lose trying than waste away in inertia. Do you want to beat procrastination? Then start taking risks. Small ones, if necessary. But real ones, make commitments that are bigger than your comfort zone allows. Because only discomfort shapes greatness. You will make mistakes, but you will learn. You will fall, but you will get up with more precision. Every mistake is a teacher. Every failure is a refiner. And those who have the courage to fail early win sooner. The problem with most people is not that they make mistakes. It's that they are so afraid of making mistakes that they never start. And that's tragic. Because procrastination, over time, becomes an identity. And when your mind starts to believe that you are someone who always puts things off, who always gets stuck, who always leaves things for later, then you start to sabotage any attempt to move forward. That's why you need to build new evidence for your mind. Small, daily victories. Simple but consistent actions. Because your mind needs to see, I am changing. And that change needs to be visible, not just to others, but to you. Your attitude needs to change. Your speech needs to change. Your environment needs to change. Eliminate everything that reinforces procrastination. The clutter, the excess stimulation, the distractions you allow. They are costing you dearly. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about energy, attention, focus, presence. You need to protect your focus like a soldier protects his base. Because your focus is what builds or destroys your reality. A scattered mind builds a scattered life. And a scattered life never bears solid fruit. So now is the time to consolidate. To lay a solid foundation. To eliminate what is shallow, noisy, volatile. Do you want to grow? Then simplify. Eliminate excess. Create margin. And focus your energy on what gives real returns. You don't need to do more. You need to do better. And doing better requires absolute focus, concentrated energy, intentional execution. So look at your schedule. Look at your tasks. Ask yourself, what here really builds my empire? What here brings me closer to my purpose? And anything that doesn't pass that filter, cut it out. Don't put it off. Cut it out. Because the time you're wasting on what doesn't matter is delaying what really matters. And sooner or later, that will take its toll. You think you're procrastinating on tasks, but you're actually procrastinating on the life you could be living. And there's nothing more tragic than that. So repeat after me now. No more living below my mission. This must be your declaration of war against procrastination, against distraction, against complacency, because you were born for more. You were designed to win, to build, to lead. And that leadership begins within you. Lead your mind, lead your time, lead your words. And when you do, something powerful will happen. You will become unshakable. Nothing will stop you. Not fear, not criticism, not fatigue, because inside you there will be something stronger, conviction, and that conviction will carry you through doubt. It will keep you steady when everything around you is shaking. It will give you peace even when the results are not yet apparent. Because those who live with conviction don't need guarantees. They are their own guarantee. Their presence, their actions, their steadfastness already declare, I will see this through to the end. And the world respects those who see things through to the end. You have reached the point where many would have stopped. Because here, where transformation begins to take shape, is also where your inner resistance tries to pull you back. Perhaps you are beginning to feel it, a restlessness, an exhaustion, a doubt that whispers that it is better to return to your comfort zone. But I tell you, with all the experience of someone who has faced the headwinds of history, this is the time when the weak give up and the strong reveal themselves. Do you think building something great would be easy? That changing your identity would be comfortable? Of course not. Real growth always comes with pain. And it's not the pain of failure. It's the pain of rebirth. When you decide to abandon procrastination and take charge of your own life, you are killing an old version of yourself. You are burying habits, behaviors, ideas, and every death requires mourning. But it also brings new life. That the discomfort you feel now is proof that you are on the right path. It is proof that you are no longer the same, and that is extraordinary. Most people never get here, because when the pain of change appears, they return to distraction, to quick pleasures, to easy excuses. But not you. You are here, listening to my voice, with your heart exposed and your mind open. That means you are ready to cross the threshold. But before you take the next step, you need to do something powerful. Forgive who you were. Forgive the procrastinator, the complacent, the coward. They did the best they could with the mindset they had. But now they're gone. And you're someone else. You're someone who decides, who acts, who persists, who builds, and who no longer waits for permission to thrive. This new you no longer seeks motivation. You seek execution. You don't need a push because you are driven by vision, and the vision you carry is clear. A rich, free, productive, generous, and efficient life. And here, I want to remind you of something that has sustained my empire for decades. Moral purpose. You can make money with intelligence, but you will only keep it with purpose, because money that comes quickly, without a moral foundation, slips through your fingers. But money built on a solid purpose multiplies and transforms. Do you want to overcome procrastination for good? Connect each task to your mission. Give a bigger reason for each action. Turn routine into responsibility. Work into legacy. That's how I did it. While others counted coins, I counted impact. While others wanted to be rich, I wanted to be relevant. And that's why, decades after my death, you're still hearing my voice, because I understood that true wealth isn't measured by how much you accumulate, but by how much you remain. And you only remain when you build with depth, when your actions are guided by values, not just goals. So, if you want to sustain this new identity, ground it in principles. Be punctual, even when no one notices. Be honest, even when no one demands it. Be disciplined, even when no one expects it. Be excellent, even when no one recognizes it, because that is what builds the invisible empire, the one that no one sees, but that sustains everything the world admires. I built that empire within myself before it appeared in the headlines. I was rich long before I was a billionaire, because my wealth was my character, my organization, my emotional control, my ability to act under pressure. And that, my friend, no one can take away from you. Not even time, the economy, or other people's opinions can destroy it. You can lose everything: money, position, influence. But if you hold on to your principles, you can rebuild everything, and more. That's why you should stop looking for shortcuts. Start growing roots. The roots of your new self, the roots of your purpose, the roots of your mission. And a mission is not negotiable. A mission is fulfilled, even when you are tired, even when you are discouraged, even when you are afraid. Because a mission is greater than emotion. This mindset will shield you from relapses. It will protect you from the temptations of procrastination. It will make you solid, and solid people are the ones who remain standing when the world is shaking. Now, imagine with me, you, 6 months from now, living with discipline, waking up before the sun, executing with precision, negotiating with authority, inspiring others by example. Can you imagine it? Well, that image is not a fantasy, it is a warning. A reminder of what is possible if you keep going. But to do that, you need to close the door on your old self, and lock it, and throw away the key. Because procrastination only enters where there is access, so close off access. Create barriers. Install systems. Eliminate excuses. Use an analog alarm clock. Turn off notifications. Let people close to you know your schedule. Prepare your clothes the day before. Organize your environment, make procrastination fight hard to reach you until it gives up. That's what winners do. They make the right thing easier and the wrong thing harder. They win in their environment, in their structure, in their predictability. And when you do that, something wonderful happens. You stop relying on willpower, and you start living by structure. And a strong structure is more powerful than any fragile motivation. That's how I built businesses that survived wars, recessions, political and technological changes. Because they were solid structures, with solid principles, with people trained in discipline, not emotion. Do you want to become unstoppable? Then be trainable, be teachable, be humble enough to follow strict routines until they become automatic. Because freedom is not about doing whatever you want. Real freedom is about building a life where the right thing becomes natural, where progress becomes inevitable, where success becomes just a consequence. And that is your destiny. It doesn't matter how much you've procrastinated until today. What matters is what you're going to do now with this new awareness. You are no longer the same, and the world will soon realize it. Now you know. There are no more excuses. There are no more veils. You are no longer confused. You are exposed to the truth, and that truth is simple. Who you want to be is waiting for who you choose to be now. You can keep putting it off. You can keep rationalizing, justifying, fantasizing about an ideal tomorrow. But every day lost is not neutral. It's one brick less in your empire. It's one step that wasn't taken. It's one penny that didn't multiply. And more than that, it's an identity that wasn't consolidated. Either you become the relentless executor of your vision, or you will be the regretful slave of your hesitation. That's what I understood early on, very early on, when no one was watching me, when there was no money in the bank, when everything was uncertain. I made a decision, not to become rich, but to be reliable, to be someone my own future could trust. And that is the final question I want to leave you with. Can your future trust who you are today? Because that is the real secret. It is not a magic formula. It is not a productivity trick. It is reliability. You become unstoppable when you become reliable. When your I'll do it means you'll do it. When your I'll change today means action now. When your word is worth more than any circumstance, that's what separates ordinary men from men who leave lasting marks. And speaking of lasting marks, you need to understand that your name is a legacy in the making. Every decision you make is defining what kind of story will be told about you, not just in the newspapers, but in the silence of your conscience, in the eyes of your children, in the mouths of those who have seen your journey up close. And I want you to understand, your wealth does not begin in the bank. It begins with honor, with character, with the precision with which you live your principles. Because fortune without values is ruin waiting to happen. But solid values are the seed of lasting fortune. I built the largest company in the world not because I pursued money, but because I pursued excellence. Money was a consequence. So was respect. So was impact. You can have that too, but only if you pay the price. And the price is this: total mastery over yourself, mastery over the mind that sabotages you, mastery over the body that hesitates, mastery over the ego that screams, and mastery over time, the scarcest resource you have. I want you to leave this video feeling different. I want you to get up from your chair, your couch, your bed, with a new posture, with the breath of someone who takes a leadership position, not over others, but over your own life. I want you to walk around your house right now and look at the spaces you tolerate, the mess you've normalized, the distractions you feed. And I want you to ask yourself, does this serve my empire? If the answer is no, change today. Now, because everything that doesn't bring you closer to your destiny is taking you further away. And I say this with love, but without sugarcoating. Either you eliminate what drains your energy, or you will be eliminated by the mediocrity you have accepted. The choice is yours. But know this, the world outside won't wait. While you hesitate, others execute. While you think, others plan. While you dream, others build. And it doesn't matter how much you cry, how much you complain, how much you regret. Life doesn't give back the days you wasted. That's why I want you to use that pain now as fuel. Use every past frustration as a reason to take action. Turn every old mistake into a stepping stone. You don't need to be ashamed of your past. You just need to decide that it no longer defines your next step. And that next step has to be firm, goal-oriented, non-negotiable. You will create a routine. You will choose a fixed time to wake up. You will set work blocks. You will protect your time as a sacred asset. You will eliminate distractions as you would eliminate enemies. You will eat with clarity. You will rest with purpose. You will train your mind every day, not as an exaggeration, but as a new normal. Because discipline, for those who want to win, is not an exception. It's a lifestyle. And once that's established, procrastination will become a distant memory, a faint shadow of a self that no longer exists. And when the results start to show, when your energy increases, when your mind clears, when your focus solidifies, you'll understand. Life was never difficult. You were just scattered. And now, for the first time, everything will start to work. Business, relationships, ideas, health, everything. Because now you are in order, and order generates power, and that is your new name. Silent power, strategic presence, authority that needs no explanation, that you no longer need to convince anyone, you just need to do it. And the more you do, the more people will feel it. They will notice. They will ask, and you won't have to shout. You'll just smile, because life speaks for those who live with purpose. Now it's up to you. The video has ended, but it's the beginning of your new life. A life of execution, of discipline, of precision. A life where procrastination has no place, where laziness has no voice, where doubt has no power. A life where every step is taken with clarity, with strategy, with direction. And if you understand this, share it with someone who also needs to wake up. Someone you know has greatness, but is still stuck in hesitation. Do it for them, and for yourself. And, if you haven't already, sign up. Because here, you will be reminded every day that you were born to build, not to procrastinate. You were born to be an empire. And that empire starts now. I am John D. Rockefeller. And if I were alive today, this is the video I would send you to watch. Now get up, take a deep breath, and go build what only you can build. The world is waiting.